Good morning, everybody. This is Charlie from Red Blue Talk. My channel is all about how politics and government impact people's lives. If you've been watching lately, you know I've been focusing on the Mount Vernon, New York mayoral candidates race, which comes primary June 25th. We have a four-way primary. We've got four candidates. They are Clyde Isley, who's a former police commissioner, and he's the choice of the Mount Vernon Democratic City Committee. Sean Patterson Howard, who was an executive at the Yonkers YMCA and a longtime Mount Vernon resident. Richard Thomas, who is the incumbent mayor of Mount Vernon, and Andre Wallace, who is the current Mount Vernon City Council president. So, today's topic is financial disclosures. Friday, May 24th, there was a 32-day pre-primary filing requirement, and the candidates have all submitted their disclosures, and they are now publicly accessible on the New York State Board of Elections website. So I went and I took a look. So let's kind of click through this and see, what they've been doing, what's going on. This is the 2019 32-day pre-primary report summary. Before I go on, folks, I would love it if you would subscribe by following the facebook.com/redbluetalk fan page, or if you'd like to participate in an ongoing discussion, I've got a messenger group. So just send me a direct message from the Facebook Red Blue Talk page, and then I'll add you to the group. So here's what's going on, and I'm going to go in alphabetical order by candidate. Friends of Clyde Isley. So you get an opening balance and then the contributions and other receipts that came in during the period up to and including Friday, May 24th, 2019. So I look at those three things combined as the total amount of dollars that was available to each candidate. So in Clyde Isley's case, those numbers come up to $37,281. That's the total that was available to him during the period. And since he had almost zero or slightly negative opening balance, basically he raised almost all that money. So he raised about $37,281 during that period of time. He had total expenses of $22,000 and a closing balance of about $14,916. Interestingly, I think you'll notice this. These candidates raised and spent different amounts, but they all ended with very similar closing balances at the end of the filing period. So let's move on to Friends of Sean Patterson Howard. So Sean Patterson Howard had a zero opening balance. She hadn't been raising money prior because she hadn't been in public office, and she didn't have a campaign account to carry forward. But she raised almost $65,000 in the period ending May 24th, 2019. She had a total haul of $64,935. But she also outspent everybody, spending $45,000 with a closing balance of just under $20,000. Richard Thomas, incumbent mayor of Mount Vernon, he had a significant opening balance of $11,000, and during the period raised another $31,000 or $32,000. So he ended up having $43,000 available to spend, total available through the reporting date, and his total expenses were $28,000 with a closing balance also similar of about $15,000. Friends of Andre Wallace. Recall Andre is the incumbent city council president. Small opening balance, pulled in about $33,000 during the period for a total available of $39,000. He spent about $25,000 and had a closing balance in that narrow range of all of them have about $14,000. And so if I just kind of summarize the expenditure side of this thing, here's how it shakes out. Sean Patterson Howard spent the most by a very significant margin. She spent $45,000. So what do you spend money on in a campaign, in March and April and May? Printed literature, consultants, surveys, labor, rent. That's where the money really goes. Richard Thomas spent $28,000 Wallace 25, and Isley 22. And if you notice, there's sort of a banding that's going on here. So Thomas, Wallace, and Isley had kind of similar spending patterns. Sean Patterson Howard really outspent them by a significant margin. So that's my quick summary of this. Again, this is a series that I'm using these videos to sharpen my knowledge of what's going on in Mount Vernon, and specifically with this mayoral race. I hope that this was productive and useful to you. I've got a messenger group on Facebook. Go ahead and DM me, and I'll add you to that, and you can see what people are talking about. It's all really about this election at this point. The primary election is June 25th, 2019. I'm going to do a few more of these live streams. I'll see you on the next one, and thank you.